At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast? Smart move. Being financially savvy? Smart move. Another smart move? Having State Farm help you create a competitive price when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
It's another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily, and I'm Dr. Neal Malik. Hey there, you made it to the end of the week. Happy Friday. Welcome to another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily, where I answer your health questions related to fitness, diet and nutrition, and lots more. You send me the questions, and I answer them for you. As I always say, I want this to be a space where you can find relevant and good information. Why might I be qualified to give this type of information? In case you're wondering about my credentials and my education, when I'm not here recording these shows, I spend a lot of my time as faculty within the California State University system. I've published peer-reviewed studies and have been interviewed by over 70 different media outlets for my expertise on basically all the stuff I talk about on this podcast. So all of this to say that when I provide my commentary after each episode and answer the questions you send in, I hope you feel as though it's coming from a place of truth. My only intention is to help you feel your best. So let's hear today's question as I help you optimize your life.
Hi, Dr. Neal. My name is Kristen Viciedo, and I'm calling to ask about intermittent fasting. I'm working out at a gym right now that's very into that intermittent 8-hour or 7-hour window during the day where you can eat. And my question is, does this promote weight loss and or muscle gain and or energy? And also, could this possibly contribute to the onset of diabetes if, in fact, your blood sugar gets too low and you're getting kind of jittery? And I hope to hear your answer soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your question, Kristen. A colleague of mine handed me a diet book and said, I just finished reading this and it sounds really promising. Would you mind taking a look at it and letting me know what you think? It was a book on intermittent fasting. I did hold up my promise and actually read it cover to cover. I gave him my feedback, which I'm going to share with you here, which he listened to with an open mind. I thought, okay, here's another fad that's quote unquote in right now, but it'll pass soon enough. Well, here we are, and we're still discussing it. I still get questions about this fairly regularly. Now, that's not a bad thing. In fact, part of the reason the idea of intermittent fasting has grown in popularity is that there are some studies that have examined its effects on body weight. Plus, it doesn't hurt that A-list celebrities like Hugh Jackman and Jennifer Lopez have been very vocal about their successes with intermittent fasting. While this diet approach may not improve your singing or acting skills like J-Lo or give you superhero powers like the Wolverine, it's important to consider the pros and cons. Let me start by describing what fasting and intermittent fasting are. By definition, fasting means the complete avoidance of food. Intermittent fasting means that you will still eat, but with larger lengths of time in between meals and snacks. Some intermittent fasting programs suggest limits on how many calories you can eat. For example, some may allow one meal during a fasting day that makes up 25% of your calorie needs for a typical day. So let's say you need to consume 2,000 calories per day. If you're following this plan, that would mean your one meal should be about 500 calories. So in general, there are 3 types of intermittent fasting diets. There's alternate day fasting. Here, you alternate between days you can eat what you want and days you're supposed to fast. Then there's whole day fasting. You fast 1 or 2 days per week, and on the other days, you can eat anything, anytime. Then there's time-restricted eating. This involves a routine where you only have a certain number of hours to fast and a certain number of hours to eat every day. Okay, now we need to discuss whether any of these are safe and effective. There are some studies that have found benefits such as weight loss, reduced body fat, and lower total cholesterol levels. Sounds really good, right? Well, on the other hand, researchers have also found that intermittent fasting may be just as effective as watching what you eat and reducing your daily calories. Short-term intermittent fasting may reduce body weight and body fat because by fasting, your body relies more on your fat stores for energy. This has been shown especially within the first 24 hours of fasting and seems to peak between 18 and 24 hours of the fast. Also, fasting has been shown to increase metabolism in the short term. So at this point, this is sounding really good, right? You might be convinced, let's do this. However, as always, you must ask yourself, is this right for me? When we look at longer term studies, most of the ones I mentioned earlier were done in the short term, like 1 to 6 months. Researchers are finding that very low calorie diets do not have better long-term weight loss results when compared to less extreme diets. Also, when they studied these diets, they often use young, otherwise healthy folks. In fact, many of the studies included athletes. Since most of us aren't young, healthy athletes, we need to be sure that this eating pattern is right for us. Plus, there are also some risks for nutrient deficiencies. You could lose some muscle mass, and there's the possibility that you'll actually gain more weight, possibly as fat weight, if and when you go back to a typical eating pattern. But if you're one of those folks that find yourselves snacking way too often throughout the day or always eating too much during meals, then intermittent fasting may be a reasonable way to restrict calories for weight loss in the short term. Some researchers, though, have found that others can overeat to compensate after their fast. So again, you kind of have to know yourself and your habits. So back to your specific questions, Kristen. Could intermittent fasting lead to fewer muscle gains or cause diabetes? Some health professionals believe that intermittent fasting may harm athletes. Research in this area is sparse, so we can't really say for sure what may or may not happen over the long term. What we can say is that not eating means you're not consuming energy, protein, vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients, which we know are important for athletic performance and recovery. And then to try and make up for all those missed nutrients after the fact, well, this could lead to overeating. One study did find that male athletes following an intermittent fasting diet experienced reduced speed. But without specific studies looking at muscle gains and muscle losses, we can't really say what's happening. Similarly, we can't say whether or not intermittent fasting may cause diabetes because we don't have studies on this topic, so we just don't know for sure. There are some folks, though, that I would advise avoiding this style of eating. This would include those that currently have diabetes, especially those that are on blood sugar lowering medications. Those that don't have diabetes but have chronically low blood sugar, they're not going to probably want to do these kinds of fasts. The elderly, children, pregnant and breastfeeding women, these are also folks that probably don't want to try this type of diet at the moment. I also wouldn't recommend fasting before exercise. You may end up fainting or worse due to those low blood sugar levels, which can make you feel weak and jittery. That's not great if you're trying to lift a heavy weight especially. So as always, definitely check with your personal physician before beginning something like this, just to be safe. You know you want to start a business. What you may not know is how to make it a reality. GoDaddy Arrow's got you. It uses AI to help you find the domain name that's right for you. Next, answer a few prompts, and with a couple clicks, Arrow will design a professional-looking website or storefront in minutes. Arrow can even help you stay engaged with your customers. Just attach a professional email that matches your domain. With GoDaddy Arrow, you can build a business without having to know a thing about this stuff. Just visit GoDaddy.com to get started. That's GoDaddy.com. Premium features require paid subscription. See terms on site. Right now, there's a talented person out there who could take your company to the next level. Do you want to hope they see your job post before your competitors? Or do you want to match with them with Indeed sponsored jobs? Sponsored jobs boost your post for quality candidates so you can reach the exact people you want faster. I love that Indeed speeds up hiring. When I've hired in the past, the process was overwhelming. I wish I'd used Indeed. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results now with Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/health. Just go to Indeed.com/health right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/health. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Do it the right way with Indeed. Thank you again for the question, Kristen. Now, if you want to send your questions in and get a copy of our Optimal Living Daily Workbook for doing so, you can email them to health@oldpodcast.com. That's health@oldpodcast.com. Or if you want your voice played on the show, come by oldpodcast.com/ask. Or you can do it the old-fashioned way and call in your question. The number is 1-61-I-LOVE-OHD. That's 1-614-568-3643. Thank you so much for sending me your questions. Answering them is one of my favorite parts of this show. All right, that's another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily. Thank you so much for listening every day and all the way through. I hope you have a great start to your weekend, and I'll see you back here tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.